What do you see as the biggest issue? To what you said, to what the fans are saying, the 49ers seem to have many issues. In the post-game presser, no one could really put their finger on what the issue was. Not Coach Shanahan, not any of the players that were up there. Multiple players from Bosa to Warner to Kittle all said, basically, I don't know when it comes to what are the core issues. Why can't this team turn it around? What's your insight into what you believe to be the biggest issue for this team?
I think the biggest issue is leadership. And I think, everything kind of runs its course sometimes. I think that John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, what do you call collaboration or, connection or whatever they are together. I don't know if it's working anymore or if Kyle Shanahan having as much power and say over the roster is such a good thing anymore. I think, I don't know. I feel like anytime there's problems that are that deep rooted and it's on both sides of the ball and it's a philosophical issue. It's how they look at talent evaluating, how they, you draft guys and then you don't play them. Like there's just, it's everywhere. It's deep rooted. It's like an infection, and somehow, some way, something needs to be done about it. I'm not saying fire Kyle Shanahan, but
right.
If there's no shakeup, if this keeps happening, I would be surprised. There has to be something to jar people out of apathy, and whether they keep tanking or they somehow, finish the year with a little bit of pride. I just think it's a leadership thing. And maybe, like I said, maybe the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan relationship has ran its course. It's 5 years. This is year 5, and they're still struggling with quarterback issues. They're still struggling with defensive back issues. They have a lot of the same problems they had in 2017, and they haven't gotten fixed. So to me, and don't even talk about the injuries, because that's a whole other thing. But I mean, talk about the injuries, but I'm just saying, I don't want to bring it up, but it's a bunch of things. But I think the leadership of this team, the combination of Kyle and John, I just don't know if the dynamic is working anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think you and I are in lockstep on that. That's what I have here as well. It appears to be leadership. And Bonta Hill from KMBR tweeted out that he believes this team is missing leadership and swagger. I tend to agree. The lack of leadership starts at the top with our head coach for me. Kyle needs to take greater responsibility for this team's problems. He's the leader of this team. He's got to start acting like it by accepting the buck stops with him type of mentality, really embracing that. All of the chaos lands on his desk as the man in charge. He needs to be the one that's finding the answers that he can't seem to find in the post-game pressers. I hope he's finding greater answers in watching film today, because I need him to take that accountability. If this were a Fortune 500 company, the board of directors would be looking at him. In this scenario, Kyle would be the CEO of that company. He would be the head there that you'd be looking to, and the board would be looking to him for the needed fix. And if he can't find the answers soon, he deserves to be replaced, just like you would within an organization that isn't performing up to the expected results. What happened on the field Sunday cannot continue. I agree with you there. The NFL just doesn't tolerate that level of losing for very long. It is a brutal, brutal league. And there are leaders amongst the players, but none seem to really be stepping up. So, yes, it's a problem for me with Kyle Shanahan, as you talked about. But I'm looking for, where are the leaders within the players as well? It seems they don't even know at this point who the leaders are, nor the people who you would assume are the leaders know the answers. Typically, you'd look to the quarterback for the answers, right? But with Jimmy, his legs have been cut out from under him with the fact that this is his last year, most likely with the organization, and everyone knows it. So even if he possessed the traits of a true leader, which it's not clear to me that he's a very vocal leader to begin with, they took away a lot of his leverage there. He's a short timer now. Everybody knows it. George feels like more of a hype man to me, and he's not always on the field. And if you're not out on the field, it's hard to be a leader. Trent feels more like a hired gun. He's progressing there, but I still get a sense of being detached. On the other side of the ball, the same is true for me of Nick Bosa. Both he and Trent Williams strike me a little bit as mercenaries, right? Hired guns that have been brought in. You would think that Fred Warner would be the leader. He says all the right things, but on the field, his play hasn't matched up to what you would hope for, and it doesn't seem to be working. And Eric Armstead, just a little too quiet for my taste, trying to lead with his actions. He said it in the post-game presser, but it's missing. And you're missing complete veteran leadership in the secondary with Tart and Ward out. There's just nobody there. And Josh Norman might be the antithesis of leadership with what we saw on Sunday. So to me, it's a void of leadership that goes all the way down. The fans are seeing it too. I saw Rick's comment earlier. It is disappointing to know that this team could lose heart in a game so quickly. They couldn't recover after Kittle's fumble. This team has no leader, no pride, and no heart. Exactly. I don't know I can go so far as to say no heart. I saw glimpses, but I get it. I get the frustration. I get the idea of fans believing that they at least saw a moment where the team lacked heart on the field.
I was the thing that struck me in that game is just, you have Kittle come back, and he's one of the leaders of this team supposedly, and I have a nickname for him now. I call him the Glass Man because he's always hurt. I'm sorry, until he returns to his form and actually stays healthy and contributes consistently, he's the Glass Man for me. Putting the ball on the carpet like that, you can't do it. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like there's no spatial awareness when these guys have the ball. It's amazing. They turn the ball over at an alarming rate, and they don't take the ball away at all, ever. And I don't even, man, there's so much you could pick apart. One person said O-line and secondary. Those are my biggest concerns too.
Yeah.
O-line, secondary. And yeah, you're right. There is no leaders. I mean, you're right. Nick Bosa and Trent Williams, they do come across as hired guns. But how can Jimmy even be a leader? Not only because he got his life cut off from under him, but his performance.
Right.
I mean, how do you listen to someone like that? I wouldn't. If I was a wide receiver and he was coming to me and getting in my face, I'd be like, dude, who are you talking to, man? Like, you throw boneheaded interceptions and turn the ball over at an alarming rate. You hold the ball too long and take sacks instead of, throwing the ball to the open guy instead of trying to force it to somebody. I don't want to use the word cancerous, but it has seeped into this team, the lack of leadership in all aspects. It's everywhere. It's across the board. And those turnovers to me kicked whatever hope that they had out of them with those two turnovers. It was like, and then the penalty on Eric Armstead, that was kind of like the nail in the coffin. After those three things happened, they were pretty much penalty. They were toast. Yep. Yeah, that was reaching, that penalty. That was bad. But it was just, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's all the more painful. Niner Faithful here points out, it's all the more painful after that Indianapolis Colts game because we're reminded of who we let go. 49er Faithful, Niner Faithful comes in. We let go of our best leader at the time being Buckner, and then we pass on Brady. I'm sure Kyle had a hand in that, I'm guessing, because he thinks he's always the strongest mind in the room. The Buckner part is what I have to touch on, because that quote from Joe Staley where he called Buckner to tell him that he retired to pass the torch from one leader to what he assumed was going to be the next leader of the organization, only to find out Buckner had been traded on that call. Very painful.